Hi guys, today I'm here with an Inglot Makeup Haul. I asked you on Snapchat after I did a little shopping there recently if you wanted to see my haul, and the answer was yes, so here we are. The brand is quite popular in Europe and with makeup artists, but not as much in mainstream North America for whatever reason, but they make beautiful stuff and it's not super expensive. It's not drugstore prices by any means, but it is really well done. Huge shade ranges for foundations, eyeshadows, lipsticks, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the things that I've tried from the brand. I do have quite a bit from them now, so if you'd like to see like a near full face Inglot, let me know. But I did a little shopping recently. They have a store here in Toronto at Dundas Square. My friend LJ works there. I was actually dropping by to see her and did a little shopping. She has a blog and a YouTube channel. She's fabulous. I will link to her down below, but let's stop chatting and get into the makeup. I actually have kind of two repurchases in this haul, which speaks a lot to how much I enjoy these certain products because, as you may notice, I have quite a bit of makeup and I don't repurchase or even run through very much. So the first item I picked up is the Inglot, obviously, Makeup Fixer, and I really like this. I ended up with a travel size of this and I traveled with it for work all the time. I was going to like North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, where it gets quite humid in the summer, and I was doing a lot of stuff outside, so I really not only enjoyed having a travel size setting spray, but I really did like the formula as well. You get 5 fluid ounces in here. The Urban Decay has 4, Kat Von D has 4, the little e.l.f. ones have 2, and it's $23 Canadian. So I think that that's a really good deal. It has a nice mister on it. It does a good job to help keep your makeup in place. It's not necessarily mattifying, but I do feel like it helps to keep things looking fresh and more vibrant throughout the day, and then I'm cool to like powder as my oils start to come through. My other repurchase was actually this brush, but I picked up another brush as well. I mentioned the Inglot 6SS in my favorite makeup brushes video, which I will link to down below. This retails for $26, which is definitely up there for brushes, but the quality is amazing. And I don't spend a ton on brushes. Like, I love e.l.f. brushes, I love Real Techniques, but to me this brush is super unique, and that is why I wanted to have a second one, because I love it for highlight, for contour, for eyeshadow, and I don't want all of those getting accidentally mixed up on my face, so I thought I would get another one. And then while I was there, I spotted this, which is kind of like a bigger version of it, but it's just a little bit more dense. They're kind of like tightly packed right now, but my other one that I have has loosened up a little bit, made it slightly more fluffy, but still not too fluffy. And this is the 4SS, so it's basically just a bigger version of this, and I can see myself eventually repurchasing another one of these. This one was $28, and I think it's going to be really good for a highlight, along with like really smoking out a look, potentially even like a super chiseled contour. I don't know. I feel like they're just super unique brushes and really good quality, so I know that I'll have them around for quite a while. The majority of Inglot's powder products come in what's called a Freedom system. So this has kind of pros and cons in my mind, because you're getting like a singular pan, so you're going to be paying less for the product, and you have a little bit more flexibility in the sense you can move it around to palettes depending on what your preferences are. If you're a makeup artist, or sometimes, you know, you buy a contour palette and only one shade is good. So you do have the freedom there to do kind of what you want, but at the same time, I sometimes, or a lot of the time, tend to neglect the products that I buy in single pans because they end up sitting in palettes elsewhere, and just for whatever reason, I don't end up reaching for them. I do, however, really like the idea and kind of wanted to build an Inglot palette that I could travel with potentially. So I picked up their Flexi palette. It's basically just like a magnetized palette, has no dividers in there, and they've got a bunch of different sizes. If you want to do like the eyeshadow pan size, you can do the kind of blush size, or you can do this more kind of flexi palette. I'm guessing that's why they call it, because you're more flexible to put in here what you want. So I picked up 2 more powders to kind of complete my flexi palette and my travel Inglot palette. I have the shade 511 here, which is one of their face powders, and this is just a beautiful, warm, but still not too warm. I'm wearing it as like a bronzery contour kind of thing today. It's in the shade 511, and it is just so pretty but incredibly pigmented. Go with a super light hand, blend it out, build it up if you need to, because you can really kind of overdo it if you're not careful, but at the same time, it is blendable and doesn't have too much pigment that it's hard to work with, just like something to note. And then I also picked up this to be an under eye setting powder. I'm wearing it today. I think it might be a little bit too yellow for my under eyes. It's in the shade 501, so it may act as a better kind of like matte highlight down the center of my face. But if you are of a bit of a deeper skin tone, I think that this could be a really nice option for you. There is quite a bit of pigment in there, which I appreciate. Kind of similar to like the Kat Von D contour kits. I always really love how much pigment are in their under eye powders. Just adds a little bit of coverage, and if you're picking up something that's yellow, you obviously want it to have a slight yellow tint to it. This, however, just may be a little bit too yellow for me. I'm going to need to play around with it a little bit, but they do have really, really nice blushes in this format as well. I mentioned in my IMATS haul last year, which I will link to down below. Another item that I was really excited to try, because I have seen my friend LJ use it in her videos, is the Sparkling Dust Illuminator for face, eyes, and body. I picked this up mostly as a face highlighter, and there's 2.5 grams in here. I mean, I'm going to have it for freaking ever. That face powder, the face powders, by the way, were 17 Canadian each, and the Flexi palette was 32, and this, which is why I was picking up that receipt, was 23. So this comes in the shade 3. They have a bunch of different colors. I am wearing it as my highlight today, but I did have another highlight on before. I was filming another video and then just kind of like pack this on, but I do have it on my inner corner as well. Although it is called a sparkling dust, I don't think that it has like huge chunks of sparkle in there. It's definitely not as finely milled as something that you're going to get in a pan or a baked highlighter, but I do not like any glitter in my highlighters at all, and I totally enjoy this. I don't think that it has chunks or anything like that. It's just not as finely milled, and I think it could look really beautiful on the body as well. And of course, as an eyeshadow, I'm going to have this basically for the rest of my life. And if you do have a lighter skin tone, they have some really beautiful kind of like icy pink shades as well. Lastly, I have two mattifying products. I am always on the hunt for things that are going to help keep my oily skin under control. The first is the Mattifying Under Makeup Base, and this looks quite small, but there's actually a full fluid ounce in here, so that's the average size of a foundation. Packaging can be very deceiving sometimes. I actually got a sample of this and I was like, maybe I'll come back and test it out. But then when I put it on the back of my hand, I was like, okay, I need this. It feels so smooth and mattifying, but you know how some primers, especially mattifying ones, can ball up on your skin? This did not feel like that at all. It just felt so incredibly smooth, like it's going to smooth out my pores. I'm so curious to put this to use. I haven't felt any primer that's felt like this before. And then this is the Stage Sport Studio Mattifying Loose Powder. I got this in the shade 33. I think there's 3 shades in the line. There's like one that's kind of pink, one that's translucent, and then this one kind of has a bit of like a translucent-y beige feel to it. And this again feels so incredibly smooth, finely milled. I actually kind of put it on the back of my hand. LJ showed me in store, and she said it kind of like when you buff it into your skin, it almost like balls up, and then it kind of leaves this matte base and you brush that away. So looked really crazy on my hand. I'm curious to try it on my face. This was 32 and this was 21. So be sure to let me know if you'd like to see these products put to use in a video. I think I can get away with doing like an 80% full face Inglot, or if you'd just like to see a foundation review or the mattifying products put to use, let me know what you'd like to see from them, because I myself am quite curious about the brand, and if you are too, then we can kind of play together. Let me know if you have any recommendations from Inglot down below. I know, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it's kind of like, not like an underrated or underground brand, but I don't know, there's only so much room for really, really hyped up brands, I guess. But I do think that this is a good one from what I've tried so far. So I will report back on what I've picked up today. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!